Isn't this like the coolest album cover? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here. Today I am bringing you my album review of Jean-Michel's album Oxygène. This is his third studio album, which was released in December of 1976. Of course, I'll link below my playlist where you can get my initial and first reactions to each of the sides on this album. But without further ado,
let's go!
I think that this electronic odyssey, even 45 years after its release, it still sounds like the future. Every piece in this album adds some new color, some new mood, fresh sonic visuals for us to indulge in and sink into. Some of the effects may reveal its age, but none of them sound dated at all. The combinations of soundscape and story is left to our imagination, with our own creativities filling in the narratives to come. Out of the cool expanse of the universe, a star is born in part 1. I love the slow and methodical approach to the space of the song, to the sound of it all. Each moment really takes its time to develop, takes its time to find full realization. I really enjoy the theremin-like vibration that we get in this one. It's just so hauntingly satisfying, adding a degree of suspense to an already tense and defined track. Like a siren soprano, it calls us into this space odyssey. With proper ignition, we move into part 2. The rhythmic engines begin to rumble and we appropriately have a sort of liftoff. We're surrounded by laser-like reverbs. Part 2, I feel, moves with very cosmic ease. You know, it has a very adventurous motif that returns and keeps the mood light and the movements forward. You know, space may be cold and dark, but the music that is accompanying us in this journey is pretty warm. In part 3, we have very sharp blitzes of synth that play a fearless lead over a siren-like cry. And to be honest, when I was listening to this piece, for some reason it was reminding me of Blade Runner, and I guess in a sense, Vangelis and his music. Now, as the shortest piece on the album, it tonally adds a bit of a kick, a little bit of a spice to the mix, which with a slight sense of conflict about it. Part 4 is the most popular and well-known piece on the album. It kind of plays almost like a tropical getaway in cyberspace, if that makes any sense. This one features a playful lead that will undoubtedly get stuck in your head, and you will be nodding your head for at least the next few minutes to come. The short swells of solar strings, a groovy bass and drum combination make this one an instant classic. The palatable excitement in the music kind of makes me think back to the days of an optimistic internet. You know, like I grew up in the time before the internet, so I got to see the expanse and the growth of the internet into what it would become today. And it kind of reminds me of that like early optimism, that early excitement. You know, remember, you've got mail, waiting for the dial-up signal to connect, waiting to see who was online in AOL Instant Messenger. Part 5 opens almost dirge-like, almost like a solemn service for some dying star, almost like an in memoriam for a celestial cadaver. Sorry, I just really liked writing alliteration. The spacey organ gives way to some deep and resounding chords, and yet about halfway through we have some sort of rebirth cycle through flashing keys and a bass that's panned forward, almost as if life is coming back into this star. And then you have that sweet, sweet, sweet synthwave-like rhythm that just opens up a new horizon, some more possibilities to follow. I think the soloing here in this section is especially exciting coming from Mr. Jarre. It kind of reminded me of what a futuristic saxophone would sound like. And then we move into the final track, part 6, ending amongst the titanic crashing of waves. A more minimalistic beat approaches with very cinematic sweeps. As they say, big things have small beginnings. The notation and deep winds that blow remind me of riding through some distant deserts. And I think that this piece brings proper closure to the album, ending in a fade. So those are just some of my brief thoughts on each of the pieces in this album, each of the tracks. This is a fantastic album, by the way. But let's get into my favorite moment and my song rankings slash track rankings for this one. So my favorite moment in this album, and there's quite a few, but I had to single out the theremin-like sound in part one. I just really like the alien way that it opens up this journey that we're about to undergo. And I think that that specific sound is like a siren, just calling to you, sending you towards her. And soon we'll be crashing upon the shores of Oxygène. My song rankings for the album are actually pretty easy. It's just parts 1 through 4 in order, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5 and 6, we're just going to switch those. So to be 6 and 5 at the end. Honestly, this is just a great album to listen to. It's easily one that I will listen to over and over. And I just love instrumental music like this, especially when it comes to electronic music like this, because Jean-Michel, he has a great way of combining, of course, the electronic with classical, sometimes a little bit of a new age kind of feel. And he brings it together in such an interesting way that I feel every time you listen to this album, and you will listen to this album over and over, that you're going to get something new out of it. You're going to be able to fill, like I said, those gaps in the music with your own imagination. It's almost like reading a book, and everyone who reads the same book with the same descriptions of characters and settings has a different visual in their mind. And that's what I really appreciate about this music. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this review. I hope that you enjoyed it. Of course, you are more than welcome to like the video and share it if you enjoyed it to that extent. You can also follow me on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And you can also support the channel on Patreon if you'd like to go that direction. But for now, hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.